Mograph TV on, Matt?
You don't need it. You can't see me.
Oh. All right, we're rolling there. Good. That signal is good. What's up, everybody? Let's see if some people will join us here for a little showy show. Right.
There we go. We got some peeps joining in.
There we go.
Hey, what's up?
Mr. Haley, Mr. Mello.
Mr. Mello. All right. Got my notes. I think we're ready to do a show. All right.
Jeez. All right. I'll have to finish watching that later. That's insane. Insanely cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on this for sure. All right, here we go. What's up and welcome to a Mograph special. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us for this special are the Unreal Engine gurus themselves, Mr. Jonathan Winbush and Mr. Brandon Clements.
Just trying to get it in a box there.
Brandon has a course on Mograph.com, RTX on. We're going to be talking about that tonight in this Unreal special. Brandon works at Already Been Chewed, and so I'm sure that's a lot of fun. And Winbush also has a course creating the Unreal on Mograph.com, so this will be fun. That one actually right now, 50% off.
Sale.
50%
off.
Enough.
Yeah.
You want to get into Unreal? That's a good starter to get you into Unreal.
Then
As
hop over to
promised. RTX on.
Yeah.
It's a good. Past Unreal Fest, there's a lot of people I've met at a lot of studios that started working at places like Warner Brothers and Activision and stuff from taking our course. So
really,
very
that's awesome.
Cool to see that type of stuff. Like you never know the impact of these courses, right? So cool
I see the emails. I really enjoy when I see like at Nike.com or at Apple.com. We've had a few of those, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always awesome to see.
Yeah, it's the gateway drug, and then when you really want to get nerdy with that RTX, and really get geeky in the I don't know. I don't even know what half these terms are nowadays. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. You can move to that and figure out how to get your renders to stay real time, because I know that's kind of a thing that happens. Everybody's like, oh, real time. Let's throw like 8 million things in here, and all of a sudden it's not real time. So you learn how to do that in this course. But Winbush, you've got a drop tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow on Nifty Gateway. It's been a long time coming. It's called The Educators. So I've been trying to pitch this for like a year now to like all the platforms. So very excited that this finally found a home on Nifty. But you know, a lot of our friends that are, you know, online educators and real life professors, I don't feel like they got the shine that they needed to during this last NFT run. So I kind of just consolidated, you know, some of the best of the best. You know, we have Grayscale Gorilla, of course, EJ, Steffi Fung, which has a big community there on Twitch. She streams every day, like her fashion art. She's actually the face of Adele right now, which is
really
that's awesome.
Nice.
Doing digital fashion and stuff. So yeah, a lot of her ads have been all over the place. We have Mixtus, which you guys probably know Mixtus, right?
Yeah, I know Mixtus.
Yep.
He was
Professor
at camp
down there
2 years ago. Yeah.
Yep, 2021.
Yeah.
He's a professor at Laguna Beach Art Academy, but yeah, he always brings in people like Beeple and G Monk to come talk to the students, and he's just, you know, really cool guy. And then of course we have Clinton Jones there that actually he recreated Camp Mograph this year in Unreal Engine 5. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's
like,
unreal.
He showed me the piece. Yeah, he did that in UE5, and it's actually like a time lapse. It goes from like day to night, night to day.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, really excited about tomorrow's drop there.
It's funny because that pier at camp was nowhere near that size or that stable.
Yeah.
There were so many people on it one night, like I don't know how many people, and then
we loaded people full of it, and then the very next night, the camp directors or whatever were like, "Let's try and only keep 8 people on there." We're like, "Oh boy."
Whoops.
Oh, really?
Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was curious because I kind of got FOMO when I saw it. I'm like, oh man, that looks sick. Like,
Should have come
yeah.
Oh yeah.
next year.
Next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
It may be an easier flight for you next year.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that was the thing. This year that's going to be like Indiana Jones, where you have like the
Right.
airplane and the dots flying all over the United
Right.
States just to get the. So I'm like, I can't do, especially with my luck with flying this year. I'm like, I can't do 3 layovers because I know
Yeah.
I'm going to get stuck somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the course a little bit. I guess the first thing that we should probably do is play the trailer for it. That's always fun.
Do it.
I've got it right here, and if y'all just sit tight, we'll let the audience see, what we're talking about here. I should probably unmute it too. I always forget. Here we go.
Hey everyone, this is Brandon Clements inviting you to check out my new Unreal Engine real-time ray tracing course on Mograph.com. We are going to dive deep into the world of real-time ray tracing. We're going to learn about blueprints, lighting, RTX optimization, sequencer, GPU light mask, and so much more. The stories that are going to be told are only going to be limited by your imagination. So go to mograph.com/classes for more information, and I'll see you there.
All right. So I got the website up here. We're gonna talk about it a little bit.
Awesome.
If you go to mograph.com/RTX on, you can follow along. There's more information there. We're also going to be posting this special on this page. That's super meta. So as far as the course goes, you do an introduction. You talk about source control and some other things that you kind of have to know, I guess, to do some of this stuff. What exactly is source control for those non-nerds out there?
That's a big topic. But it's basically, a lot of artists who use Cinema 4D, Blender, whatever it may be, you kind of have to do manual source control, right? Like you have a file, you name it VO1, and then you create another file and it's VO2, so on and so forth. So having something like GitHub or Perforce or there's a few other ones that you can use that are open source. But yeah, it just kind of keeps track of your files. So it knows when you're iterating through a file, and it also allows you to have a secondary like laptop or maybe a friend who's across the country. So like Jonathan and I, we could set up a project. We could, work in the exact same copy of that project, and then we can push updates to each other without conflicts. That's the whole idea, is that you want to avoid merge conflicts. So like if Jonathan was working on a material and I added to that material later, it's a safe way to kind of merge those changes into one ground truth, ground truth file. Yeah.
To rule them all.
To rule them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll also mention that, this course has been a long time in production, so it was Unreal 4 when we started, and now Unreal 5. There is some Unreal 5 stuff in here. All this applies pretty much. I know that there is some new stuff in Unreal 5 that may still be in beta. I'm not sure. I don't follow along as well as you do. But like, so you go into a lot of the RTX stuff, and I guess it's not really RTX in Unreal 5. It's different, kind of.
Correct. Yeah. So, man, going maybe a little too far back, at the first SIG graph when Jensen actually unveiled those, RTX cards. Like, I was there, and that was a crazy time in Vancouver to kind of witness that. And then I remember walking out to the NVIDIA booth, and they had a Porsche demo, I think it was. And they had these like animated textures in the scene to like kind of create these streaks on the car. And I was like, wow, like I've got to learn, I have to learn this. I've always been interested in interactive media and video games and stuff. It's always been a big part of my life. But seeing ray tracing in real time, I just never thought that was going to be possible on a budget, right? Like, everyone's dropping $1,200 now for GPUs and stuff. So I don't know if it's on a budget per se, but
right.
some of these older cards, 2080 Ti, the 30 series, do just great with these DXR libraries. So that's what I pretty much show you from the very beginning. Like 4.26, I think, is one of the first project files that I open up and teach in the course. And it's really, just going through how does it work, why does it work, and like how can you tune it for performance reasons. Like you said, sometimes you just want to throw all the assets into it, and that was
right.
We were recording this stuff before Nanite and Lumen, before we knew about that stuff. And so now it's kind of evolved into brand new technology that's not quite seen its maturity yet. That's in Unreal Engine 5. So it may help you bridge that gap, and it may offer some insight of like where it started and where we're going. So that's the plan, is to keep adding to this course, because you just never know what's around the corner in 5.1.
Right. So you do like
I saw the
go
preview.
ahead.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
5.1.
Yes.
RTX is still relevant in Unreal Engine 5 because it uses a combination of Lumen and RTX depending on what the scene is set up for. So to my understanding, like lighting is still Lumen, lighting is Lumen, but stuff like sometimes with shadows and reflections, those still rely on RTX, at least for UE5. I'm not sure about 5.1, but I know it's like a mixture between the two right now. So
absolutely. There's still a lot of stuff like in production right now, projects that I'm working on, where you'll just flip over to the actual RTX, like the ray tracing pipeline, and just use that for some shots. And then for other shots, you could flip over to Lumen and use their hardware acceleration to help create something that's not so screen space. That it does a lot of screen traces in Lumen. I'm not even going to pretend like I understand that magic. It's insane how they've been able to make that work on like modern hardware and consoles. But if you want to beef that up a little bit, then you can use ray tracing hardware to get some of those off-screen traces back into your reflections and global illumination. And then like Winbush, like you said, you can flip over to RTX shadows, or you could use virtual shadow maps, or you could just turn on path tracing if you want to. So the engine right now offers a lot of flexibility depending on like what your shot is, what your needs are, what you want your performance to look like. You can pretty much tune it however you want. So performance is a big key there.
I like how you set this up, because you talk about light mass, then you go into setting up real-time ray tracing. And of course you start by importing a scene from Blender, which I hear is free.
What?
I have a question. I had a question about that one. So have you messed around with the new the Blender importer? Because I saw in the marketplace there's actually a Blender importer where, similar to Datasmith, how you could bring in Cinema 4D files in Unreal, now you can bring in .blend files into Unreal.
I haven't actually used it yet, but I've seen it, and I think that's kind of the magic of open source is, people can dig in and create these bridges. There are some really great community tools. There's a few of them. There's like two or three that I can think of off the top of my head that you could just go to like the Blender market and just search for Unreal. There's one like from Blue Raven, I think is the developer's name. I'm probably getting that wrong. But it has everything for camera sequences to skeletal meshes to static meshes, and it's basically an automated FBX loader, and it does a really good job there. Unreal
Right.
Engine, they have their own set of Python tools that will do FBX loading for you, which I think I show in the course, which that has already matured from the time that I use it in the video. So
Take two.
yeah, let's go. Take two. But no, it's a joy, honestly, to use all the community tools and to see like what people are making and building. And I really feel like with the combination of Blender and Unreal, there's literally no limitations to creativity there. And excited for the youth. the
youths
to
youths,
get in there and
kids.
and make something, like on a gaming computer. That's the most exciting thing to me.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, we were having a conversation, I think, on Discord late last night. Sometimes we're usually on during the day, but sometimes, at night, all of a sudden, a couple
I
random
noticed
people.
y'all were on late last night.
Yeah, like people just start popping in, and all of a sudden, it's like midnight party. And we were talking about this whole thing where there's this race. You got Octane, Redshift, and then you have the real time stuff. And then like, at what point does it catch up? Like, will it ever look like, will Unreal ever look the same way that like Octane and Redshift does? And then
I
is
thought
there
the peak was going to be these 3090s, then 4090s come out, and it's
Yeah.
like twice as fast as a 3090.
yeah,
Jeez. Yeah.
and or at least 1,000 more, right? 30 to 4. But the thing is, like, where will we go with it? Because like, let's say Octane Brigade comes out and it's super badass, and you can just stay where you were doing what you were doing. Like, is it going to be worth it to go to something real time if you have real time? Like, is there like a ceiling we're going to hit?
I would say, I love Max on to death, but it's not only about real-time rendering, it's also about real-time workflow. So whenever you're working in, like your cinema or even Blender or Maya for that point, everything is still kind of limited in your viewport, especially when it comes to polygon counts. And Unreal Engine 5, especially with Nanite, I don't want to say you have infinite polygons. You still, it's
you heard it.
practice,
You heard it
but-
first. Winbush said
Yeah.
infinite polygons in Nanite.
I think they put it on their website somewhere, but yeah, it's pretty high count. But I know the big thing, even with Unreal 4, like, 'cause I built like a lot of like big terrain environments for all those shows like Deadliest Catch and stuff. And I used to use, like Forester and Octane Scatter, and moved on to Redshift and stuff. And I always, like, when I'm adding a lot of foliage, like my cards and everything would just struggle just in the viewport alone. But in the viewport in Unreal, I don't hit those roadblocks at all. So I think the real-time workflows of being able to work in real time, and then like rendering in real time, is the cherry on top. But I think
I think the more experienced animators and stuff who are throwing more into their scene, start getting into particles and smoke and fire and all this other stuff, then it really starts to bog down your system, know. And as I've grown more and more in my career, I have noticed a significant, like chugging on certain things,
Right.
And there's also other things in C4D that I wish they would update, like the way Houdini, caches stuff when you're playing back. Oh, I love that. I wish C4D would do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is about RTX.
Like pre-caching. Yeah.
Right.
Well, you've also got these chapters on creating titles, and you go through creating a title sequence using the sequencer. Something else that's nice to have, because it's like, I remember when you first sent me some of the samples you were doing like years ago, messing with this. You sent me the one of the car, and the fact that you're basically, it's like you're in an NLE. It's like you're in Premiere.
Yeah.
And you're just editing stuff. It's like you're just working with footage, but you're not working with footage. You're working with real-time camera moves. So you kind of go through setting something like this up, and making a title sequence to a TV show. And it's something that Unreal is moving toward now. There's a video that we were just drooling over right before the
Future
show.
Broadcast design and animation. Epic or Unreal just released it like 7 hours ago.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
It's pretty epic. We're gonna have to talk about it on the show next week as well with Clinton Jones, talking about the Unreal stuff, and him, even doing his NFT in Unreal. And so this whole video goes over this broadcast
Future
animation
broadcast
stuff.
Yeah. The After Effects killer by the look of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
at least for Mograph stuff. I don't know necessarily about like compositing and stuff.
right.
Yeah, it has a compositor in there. It's called Composure, so you could do real-time green screening and stuff.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it an After Effects killer yet, but it's it's its first iteration, so I could definitely see it getting there. But yeah, we got to kind of keep the expectations,
Yeah.
that
But I mean,
it is a 100% after Adobe will die after this.
But
But I mean, they're talking
You heard it
about,
here,
in
folks.
the same video, they're talking about in Q3 of next year, actually, doing integrations with Adobe projects within all this stuff as well, and NLE integrations like Premiere and Final Cut Pro and Avid.
and you said there was
So-
something in here about NDI as well.
Yeah, so like as far as this new update 5.1, they're talking about being able to control different things through either Aja cards or Blackmagic or NDI, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, imagine you can just pipe an NDI feed of someone on a green screen onto a plane in real time and put them on a set.
Yep.
I've seen some people that are actually selling packages that do that online, but like this, is a whole nother level. And imagine that you also can bring pure data into this as well. I'm
Yeah.
sure having the Unreal advantage, there's no limit to what you could do. Real-time stats and titles and database, links.
They were
and
showing off something where called controllers, where basically, it's this right here, where basically you can change the entire color. You can basically set different things to be controlled by it, and then you can adjust it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just like change the color or change the text or change whatever really easily. So imagine if you're running if you're TDing a live production, like 1, 2, 3, all of these different ones, they're all different colors or whatever, and it's all reading from the same file. It's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, everyone should check that out for sure.
I will say that they're actually listening to the community. Like, I know they've asked a couple of us, like, what would we want inside of our broadcast package, and like a lot of people, their wish list for After Effects that Adobe hasn't been listening to for the past forever. It's like we've been asking for stuff and they keep coming out with other stuff, and so the artists that are telling them what they want in After Effects is like they're actually implementing that stuff in there, so they're definitely listening. And I would say
Real-time
let your voice
playback.
be heard.
I mean, that's all I want, and for it not to crash.
Every 5 seconds.
I don't think I'll ever
And-
get that.
in folders.
I don't know.
I've been wanting folders inside the timeline for like ever. Like pre-comps are okay, but
Yeah.
been wanting folders
Yeah.
in there. And I mean, it's like I said, it's its first iteration, but I could see it definitely being a competitor at least late 2023, 2024. Like it's going to be, Adobe, they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do, because they can't just like give us a bunch of BS now with the After Effects updates.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't seen the video yet. Jonathan, you just turned me on to it before the live stream, but I can only imagine what you could do with blueprints and automation and scripting and
Yeah.
being able to set all that stuff up and create usable, reusable controllers, whatever it may be. That's where I'm like super pumped. There's in Fusion you can do like macros and things like that and save those out, but it'd be nice to look at and think about automation and workflow. That's cool.
Masking
And
and,
also- Great to have actual real 3D in the
Right.
2D instead of like, because people
Right.
are like, I was watching Adobe Max and people were like, oh my gosh, you could bring OBJs into After Effects, and I was literally in that talk as that announcement came out. I'm just like, man, you guys have no idea what I'm looking at right now.
The
Like,
stupid thing is, what's stupid about that is you used to be able to bring in OBJs into
I
After
remember
Effects back in CC5. In
Yeah, I remember
CC5
that.
and then in CC6 they got rid of it
I didn't
because
realize
no one
that.
was using it, and it's
That's
like,
funny.
all right, whatever.
I mean, that was last year too, right? Because what they renamed it MFR for multi-frame rendering, but that was in there back in the day too, and they took it out. Now they brought it back like it was brand new. So I guess that's their roadmap now. Just bring back all the stuff they took out.
Right?
Just like Apple.
Right?
Take it
Hey, look at
away
this
and then
new
bring it
thing.
back. Yeah.
But,
And
yeah,
then-
don't want
yeah.
to deter from your course, Brandon. Sorry. And
No,
then,
no, I love it.
No, it's
No.
good. It's just, it's future stuff that can be in another course, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine redoing the titles and not having to use UMG, but just flipping over into Avalanche and do 2D titles, bring that
Man.
over into Sequencer?
It looks pretty good too. Like it looks very user friendly. I don't know about the keyframes. We'll see. Keyframes in Unreal still. I don't know.
yeah, it still gets me too.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to the sequencer, but I think it's just because I'm so used to using After Effects and Cinema 4D, especially with like the curve editor and stuff like that. But it's just, becoming accustomed to it and just using it more. The more I use it, the more I get used to it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been using it a lot for Mograph
Mograph.
Yeah, crap.
Mocap cleanup.
That's our other channel.
Yeah.
Mocap cleanup. Oh my gosh. And it's been great. Like I'm really getting into control rig. Control rig is like insane. Like lately I've just been bringing in like skeletal meshes that have blend shapes on them. Throw it into control rig and just like making little controllers for just little blend shape dials, and then throwing that in a sequencer and using that to drive blend shapes. It sounds super simple, and it is super simple, but like it just kind of adds another layer on top of an already amazing workflow. But yeah, control rig is so insane. I don't see how they iterate so quickly on all these tools. Like,
Say it's changing at 5.1 already.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I know that they started adding constraints into the animation. Like, if you're in Sequencer and you have a control rig object, like a character, you can start adding constraints to your controls. So, like, if you wanted to, I think there was something on Unreal Fest that I watched the other day. Like, if you wanted to pick up an object, switch hands with it, you can just use constraints like you can in any other animation package. But just the way they're like iterating through, like, oh, you want constraints? Okay, cool. 5.1, here you go. Oh, you want this? It's like crazy how fast
I can't
the
imagine, like,
development is.
they got to have so many people working on this.
I'm sure.
I think
It's insane.
Yeah, don't quote me, but I think they hired like some Pixar animators to work on the control rig. That's how
Wow.
they're able to like iterate so fast. Like, it seems like they kind of pick like the top tier and just start cherry picking,
They got
like
the
the
money.
Arnold people.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I mean, when you have that
got
type
that
of money,
Fortnite
growing on
money.
trees,
The Fortnite money. Yeah.
to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
G bless all the kids with their credit cards from their moms.
Right.
It's amazing. Yeah, the one thing I do really like about Control Rig, staying within the whole real-time umbrella, is that you can just kind of throw down a bunch of nodes and you can hit compile. And if something doesn't work within the little viewport, you just, go back to the drawing board, so to speak. Something doesn't work there. I mean, like, it's the fastest rigging workflow that I've ever seen. Although you have to have skin weights and bones and a skeleton, just being able to set up controllers and like looping through stuff and basically scripting it out has been super cool.
Cool.
It's really awesome.
Now you go over a little bit of blueprint stuff in here, like chapter 3. You've got the scene with the bathtub, the bathroom scene.
Oh yeah.
And what are you doing exactly with blueprint in this particular scene?
I believe in that one we're doing stuff like changing the lights. So I think I go through and show you how to do like a sun and sky, like a simple sun and sky setup, and also control other actors within the scene to kind of bring up the illumination. It's still kind of relevant to rendering and lighting, but I'm trying to push gently people into blueprints because I feel like that's one of the main reasons to get into Unreal Engine. It's one of the main draws, in my opinion. If you're not abusing the blueprints and setting up your own kind of prefab, so to speak, I think you're really missing out on a major portion of what makes it so amazing and so great. So that was kind of my little idea of like nudging people, like, hey, they're not scary, like they're actually really cool.
And you,
And
I like what you do. I don't remember if it's that scene or not, but when you're setting it up and you're trying to show the difference between, I guess what would it be, GI and like you like the switch back and forth, like to RTX on and off, essentially, I guess, of how you can set your settings so that you could go back to the more realistic render that's not as real time and say, hey, this is looking pretty close. I like that technique.
Oh, yes, definitely. That's kind of like the big downside of the RTX kind of implementation in the mainline branch is GI is super expensive. Like,
right.
You turn it on and it's pretty much like if you use what's now in Unreal Engine 5 for those who are interested currently, it's the deprecated. I think they labeled it as deprecated.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically like where you switch it over in the post-process volume. And it takes a lot of samples. It takes a lot of bounces to get something that is kind of realistic, but it's all brute force running on your GPU. So it's actually trying to trace all the rays in the scene.
All the rays.
To try to give you an accurate representation of, a photorealistic kind of GI model, and it does a really good job. But it is slow.
Yeah.
So I try to show you how to make it fast.
And what about the
optimize.
arcade scene? Is that I know like each scene you kind of have set up to demonstrate something else. What are you demonstrating in this one?
Yeah, I think in this one I talk a little bit more about volumetric lighting. I think trying to set the mood. So we go from like an indoor scene with a bathtub that just has one kind of opening for a light source. So how do you get something looking pretty with all the indirect bounces from one kind of big window into a dark, dimly lit cinematic scene? I show you a little bit of like translucency, like how you can set up kind of cool shaders for that kind of refractive, kind of rough plastic that's thrown over all the arcade machines. So yeah, I kind of walk you through all of that and just kind of show you how to set up lighting in there. I think I have a video in there that talks about Lumen as well. So I think I show you in RTX and then I show you in Lumen.
Yeah.
With that scene in particular.
And then you do some anti-aliasing stuff, which is very heavy, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah. So this really isn't a huge issue now, but like a couple versions ago, there was some like stair stepping, some like different aliasing around metallic objects. So it's really just kind of like a solution. How do you troubleshoot some of that stuff?
Right.
And usually it just kind of equates to, I think what I show you in that lesson is just placement of lights and material settings. And so, yeah, you can dig more into that.
Yeah.
And have a really crisp alias looking scene.
And then when you're done, you can go to the last chapter, which is the Unreal 5 Lumen Ray Tracing chapter. So.
Yep. A lot of stuff I want to follow up with that. Things that have not actually been fully implemented yet, but have been started. Like there's a lot of the two-sided foliage shader. I think Daniel is the main developer. I follow him on Twitter, and I've been building the engine for about like 6 months now. Like almost every weekend, I'll just build the UE5 main branch just to see like all the commits that have been made and just kind of browse through because I'm a nerd and I guess I have nothing else to do on the weekends. But it's pretty cool to see like how they started to implement like radiance. So a lot of the stuff that's happening in Lumen for like the landscapes will actually appear on the two-sided foliage now. So there's a lot of like changes that you may or may not notice. It just may result in a more beautiful looking image, but they're constantly chasing this, which has been super exciting to watch.
What is the two-sided, like what is the purpose of that?
Well, there's many different shading models within inside of the engine, so they're just like different shading models. So the foliage one is supposed to allow you to have like a subsurface backlit translucency, but still
Okay.
allow you to use like an opacity mask texture for that shader. So that was not working in Lumen. It also was not working in Nanite, but those are things of the past. So those are working now, which is pretty exciting.
And along the capture side, I'm sure both of y'all have been playing with the capture stuff. I think Brandon, we missed you when we did our Rococo Day earlier this year. Messed around with that, but Winbush, you just got a suit you were going to do something with as well, right?
Yeah, it literally just delivered today, so I got the Rococo 2 suit in. So I'll be doing I haven't used it yet because it just came in today, but yeah, I'll be doing a comparison between the first suit because of course that's where it started. So kind of doing a comparison between the Rococo 1 and Rococo 2 and just showing where the improvements are and everything. But yeah, could still try it out and see what's going on there. But have you guys, you tried yours out, right? Because you've had it for like a year now, right?
Got it. We got it in March or something, I think, of this year, and played with it a lot at first, and then just got too slammed to do anything else with it. And I really want to get back to it. We had Pickle Nick do all sorts of fun little things at Matt's house, like do different. You know, he was an actor and is trained as an actor, so he's very good at like expressing himself. You know, doing funny moves and things. So we have this like whole library that we took. I just haven't had a chance to like mess with some of it. The one thing I will say, save yourself a lot of time and buy yourself a dedicated wireless router for this thing. It will eliminate a lot of problems right off the bat. And there's like a recommended one that I can throw out there. I'll have to find it. But it's the one that Sam recommended.
I think it was the Nighthawk, because I think that's the one that I have.
I think so. Asus?
Well, this one is Netgear, but I do, because they had like a list of recommended routers. I know Asus was on there, but I think, because I bought the Nighthawk because I was like their top recommended one. But I also know if you, not a lot of people know that you can like change your router channels. So usually by default, your router channels are on like the lower level, and that's where you're getting like all the static from all the communication from all the different devices. But if you set it at like a higher channel, there's less interference because there's less devices, communicating in that channel. So that's what I did, and that kind of helped me out there as well.
I believe this one, the TP-Link AX5400, it's a Wi-Fi 6 router. That I think that is the one that I think that was recommended. I'm not sure. I think Sam recommended it to Jags, and Jags told me, and I got it, and it worked right off the bat. So
I think that's the one I have too.
Yeah.
That one's a good one.
Yeah.
Also, to plug my YouTube channel, I did do a tutorial where you can hook it up with Bluetooth. That's something that they don't really put out there, but there is a Bluetooth setting, so you can actually use Bluetooth like when you're out in the field or like at a conference or something where there's like a lot of interference. You can switch it over to Bluetooth mode and just have your like laptop or whatever communicate directly to
that's cool.
I had no idea that. Now that's cool. Because that's the first thing I thought of. Is I'm like, what if you're just out? You gotta get battery power for your router. How are you gonna do that? And Sam was at camp. He was showing us, how it worked. He was doing some real time stuff through Unreal, which is cool. I think it was like a night scene. He had like a sword and stuff. And that's something I want to play with more. I know that there's even like a link for Cinema 4D where you can do that, but I haven't had a chance to try it.
I think they have a live link for everything at this point. You could do Maya, Blender, Cinema, Unreal, Unity. So it's pretty versatile if you have it.
Yeah. What do you plan on doing with it? Like, what's going to be your first thing that you're going to make with it?
You talking to me or Brandon?
To you, Winbush.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first thing I do when I get any motion capture suit is blow up the air mattress and start doing acrobatic jumps onto it. I don't know if you see my stuff in the past, but I've done it with auto mocap suits I have just to kind of test it out. Like the first Rococo suit I had, as soon as I jumped in the air, the avatar just like flies off in like infinite space, and then But the Xan suit, I was able to jump and it was fine. But they told me with the Rococo 2 suit, your feet can actually leave the ground and it still keeps your placement. So I definitely want to test that out, just like with different elevations and stuff like that. Because the first suit, that was something that as soon as like both feet left the ground, even if you're not jumping, like you're just walking or whatever, your avatar would just like fly like right off the screen there. Right. It didn't have that point of contact anymore. So
yeah, we
definitely
had
excited to see.
Yeah, we had mixed reviews on that. Like there were some times that it was good at that, and sometimes it would work, but then it wouldn't be aligned with where the person was before. So it takes a little getting used to. But so I don't know.
There's a cleanup in there though, right? Because if I remember right, the Rococo Studio has auto cleanup. Yeah,
it does, and it's great. It's got different exports for different programs and things, and smoothing and all of that. You know, Jag's tried a lot of it. I haven't messed with the cleanup tools as much as I just tried to take something direct into Cinema and go from there. So
the one thing I really did like about Rococo was the different exports that you could do, and especially because of the Mixamo one, so you could just kind of rig up your character with the T-pose, export it out from Mixamo, and then you could bring it into Cinema 4D to use the automatic character tools to just align everything up, that was really helpful there. That's something that the other suits I've used don't have. Like they typically have, you know, like Maya rigs, and you have to weight paint and do everything by hand. So yeah, that's the one plus Rococo has with their setup is really versatile.
As much as you can say, Brandon, have you used it for anything that already been chewed?
Yes, been using it quite a bit lately for multiple projects, multiple purposes, not just linear storytelling. I think we'll get more into that soon if you want to check out our social on Already Been Chewed. But we've done a lot with it, and I've been a customer with them since V1. So the place I was at before Already Been Chewed was an agency that was building a production company, and I worked with the agency with my own business, and so they were like, hey, why don't you come over here and like help us build this new studio thing. And so used it a lot over there, had some pretty good success with it there, and been really excited to use the version 2 suit whenever I can. But yeah, definitely everything you guys said is like, if there's one thing you do, like get a different router for the suit. Yeah. It's just, it takes care
all the
of
noise.
So many problems. But I hope in the future, because they rely so heavily like on the Rococo Studio app, I hope that they're thinking about just small quality of life like cleanup tools. The one thing that I've always had trouble with Rococo is
weird. Apply. Where's Matt?
I'm right here.
There he is. All right. I believe we're back in, so yeah, that's fun.
I could check the stream.
Yeah. Yep, looks like we're back. We're back on Mograph TV too. Weird. I don't know if we lost internet or what happened there. Anyway, sorry to break the flow. Where were we? Capture stuff. Yeah.
Capture.
Yeah, there we go.
What a concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of technology and Wi-Fi, do you want to move to the RTX Di and what's the other one? NV RTX? I do not know what that is, but
the NVIDIA stuff.
Yeah, what is this stuff?
Yeah, it's basically NVIDIA. They have their own branch, so they can do all the hooks and stuff that they want with their technology. So they stay off the UE5 main branch, which is where all the Unreal Engine developers, they push everything to that branch, and everything is merged into that branch, I should say. So if you want the latest and greatest, you can go to github.com, connect your Epic Games account to your GitHub account. You can actually get access to the UE5 main branch and any of the other branches that you may be interested in. So likewise, you can do the same thing with the NVIDIA GitHub. You create an NVIDIA account, connect it to their GitHub, clone their repo, and then you can build their version of the engine from source code. which includes all their technology. There's RTX DI, which is direct illumination. There's RTX GI, of course, which is a probe-based solution. It's not the same as the one that I had mentioned earlier that was very expensive. This one is actually very performant and gives a really, really amazing result in terms of a GI solution. There's also a denoiser that's in there that basically runs over all, I believe, the shadow casting pass, basically, and it allows all the shadows and illumination to happen in one pass in the DI pass. So you can essentially have like a lot of lights. They say I think they say thousands of shadow casting lights.
Is that what this is showing here? That's what this is, right? Man.
Yeah, that scene there is crazy. But there's all kinds of lights. There's illuminated materials. All of that comes into the RTX GI volume. And then you have, of course, DLSS, which is in there, which is just an incredible technology. DLSS 2.0 was incredible, like just from a linear content creation perspective. Like it kind of took a lot of the overhead off your GPU. Like you could basically lower or render in a lower resolution, and then you could scale it up using deep learning or whatever. DLSS 3 is supposed to be, the next evolution of that, which I'm sure everyone's seen the big announcement trailer and everything that NVIDIA had like during their keynote conference and stuff. But yeah, it's amazing. That's one of the reasons why I really want to stick in the real-time world, is just because those types of technologies, you have all the information about the scene that you would want. Whereas with offline, you kind of have to hand that off, and it's loaded up onto the CPU or GPU, and then there's like a bridge between the plugins. Like there's always like the DCC app, and then there's always like the render engine, and they're not like integrated. There's a bridge that has to happen between those. So yeah, that's the big benefit with real-time engines. You don't have that. It's just right there.
Yeah. And go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say with 3.0, I think it was they showed, like, this isn't for linear, this is more for gaming, but I think it was like Oblivion, like the original OG Xbox game, and they actually had it up converting in real time to like 4K or 8K textures.
Yes.
And that was crazy. And I think that was with 3.0 and AI deep learning that they're doing it. And they're like, you could just take like 480 by 480 textures and have them auto convert to 8K, and they're like super crisp. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah. You can play the old James Bond video game, the old Bond, and like upscale to 8K. Is that doable? Yeah.
I think
some
so.
Old Halo. Yeah. Just plug it in and it just is better. That'd be fun. I want to play Halo 3, Yeah, that's so cool. What happens if you throw Mario in there, though? That'd be kind of weird. Can it upscale 2D Mario games?
So, did you ever see that? It was like a viral video, but someone made like a RTX version of Mario, and he had like pimples and all this crap.
Like, okay, there's other things coming too. Like, I don't know what you saw at last week, Winbush, at the what was the name of it?
Unreal Fest.
Unreal Fest. That's something that's kind of new to me, and I kind of was interested in some of the videos and stuff that I saw. It looked like a really big thing. Like, how many people were there?
They say it was capped at 1,000. But it felt like there's way more than that. So I don't know the official numbers, but I know on the website they said it was capped at around 1,000.
Does it have the same, like, does it have that vibe, like when you go to like motion events, or does it feel a little bit different because of like the gaming aspect of it?
No, funny enough, I only met a handful of people from gaming studios, but it seemed like they were more into like the interactive and the linear space. So a lot of movie studios, like I hung out a lot with the people from Warner Brothers New Zealand, They were cool. Met people at Sony, Universal, like a lot of like movie production studios. Zoic, a lot of those people were down there. And then, I mean, of course, you had the gaming, of course, because they're showing updates with like Rocket League, Fortnite, Fall Guys, and stuff of that nature. But there's a big emphasis on movie production and TV production and broadcast and real-time sporting events and stuff like that. So it was an interesting group of people that like I was nervous because that's like we go to our events like SIGGRAPH, NAB, stuff like that, and kind of like I know the motion community, but there I'm like I'm not gonna know anybody. But yeah, I ended up having a good time just because yeah, it's like it was a different vibe because there's different people, but it kind of still felt like it does at like our typical events, just different faces.
Yeah, one of those videos I saw was on TikTok, I think, and I think I just caught a clip of it, something about modeling tools, and I haven't really had a chance to go check it out. Does it look like it's pretty cool? Is it something in its infancy?
Very, very, yeah. It's still really, really early. Even on 5.1, I mean, there's improvements, but it's not going to be a DCC or replacement, or it's not going to replace ZBrush or Moto or anything of that nature. So it's good for like if you need to add polygons, make your model more dense, or if you need to delete stuff or do small things, it's good for that. But or even like gray boxing, like if you're just setting up your scene with basic shapes and deformations and stuff like that. But like if you wanted to model like a sculptor or something, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's really good for, you just things aren't lining up exactly like you want them to, and you can just select the verts and move them up, and then you jump out of the modeling tools and it kind of freezes that mesh. So stuff like that, and then UVs as well. Like if you just want to do like a flat projection, maybe you mess it up in some way. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to call upon those tools in the engine and not have to take it back out and then bring it back in. That can get old.
Yeah.
I can say while I was there, I got to speak with the Megascans team in person. Finally got to hang out with those guys, and they put me on the beta for the new capturing tool because like they use like multi-million-dollar systems to scan the world, but they're bringing that technology to mobile. It start with iOS right now, then moving to Android, but it's called Reality Scan. And
did you have to buy an iPhone?
Well, I have an iPad Pro.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. Is it LiDAR? Is it LiDAR or photo that it's using for that?
It's photo, but you need a signal because it's actually using like your location as you're like scanning. Like you're taking individual pictures, but it's also looking at the location of where you are as you're circling around the object. So it's using geolocation somehow.
Nice.
And it's pretty cool because you can right now it's in its infancy. You only could use up to like 200 photos, but like I was doing scans here at my house, and I was pretty impressed. Like you take your scan, it uploads it to Sketchfab because Epic Games recently bought Sketchfab, and so it will upload it to Sketchfab, and then from there you could bring it to whatever DCC you want to, or you could bring it directly into Unreal Engine 5 using Nanite, and yeah, everything. It's pretty insane. Like the technology that they're kind of putting in the user's hands, and I believe they said that's maybe going to be out in the year for everybody, and it's going to be free. But that's kind of one of those things too. It's like you get like a photo scan of what you want, bring it into Unreal, and then you could just kind of fine tune it with their modeling tools in there.
Are they looking to like map the world? Is that kind of the thing?
Yeah,
where you could just
they
like
straight up.
Yeah,
they straight up said that, like, because they have teams all over the world scanning the world right now, but they're like if they put it into people's hands, and then especially since they bought Sketchfab, is like now they could just scan infinite because everybody's going to be using it, and you can sell your stuff up there if you want to, but they're really encouraging people to just like scan everything they can and then put it up on the library, and then you just have like everything from everything in the world.
Yeah.
You can go walk through everyone's house,
Right.
and see everyone and pet everyone's dog,
And see who you want to rob.
right?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a nice TV.
That would be amazing if there was an integration with Bridge in
Yeah.
Sketchfab. That
Oh
would be
man.
because I abuse. Everyone should abuse the heck out of Bridge. It's
Yeah,
incredible
oh, yeah.
that you have that.
Can
So
you
good.
imagine you like go to Bridge and you just search for anything?
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah,
Yeah, I
That's-
need this
it's crazy.
microphone. Just put it in there. Yeah,
yeah.
that would be cool. There's Tokyo Megs, who I haven't talked to in a while. What's up, dude? I sent you an email today.
Yeah, you need to be on the show.
Yeah. Asked if anyone's tried Womp, and
don't know
that
what
sounds
Womp is.
familiar, but I don't know what that is. He says he's into it at the moment, and if Tokyo Megs is into
New
it,
way to 3D.
you know it's cool. And what do you do exactly? I don't know.
Open Womp.
Womp womp.
I guess it's a 3D. I have
Oh
to sign up.
yes, I have heard of this. It's like is it the browser thing? You know,
Online
what I'm talking
3D
about?
program,
like online
yeah.
3D. Yeah, I think I remember this because EJ posted about it, and he's like, "It's
No, I
free."
think
What?
I think that's something else, isn't it?
No, I don't
I don't
know.
Yeah, that was. I know he was using Spline a lot. I don't know if it's the
Yeah.
same thing as Spline.
Mm. Yeah, I don't.
Hmm.
We believe if you want to bring your 3D ideas to life, you should be able to create it with ease. Well, don't we all? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm.
There's
a lot of
See,
crazy
what's
stuff
amazing to
coming
me
out.
is that they can do stuff like this. Like I'm playing around with it right now, and
Mm-hmm.
it's doing this VDB meshing type thing, and it's like I can do this in real time. Why can't my actual programs do that? You know?
I mean, you guys heard the story of how I got into game engines, right? I mean, it was kind of along that philosophy. Like, I was working on Lego
yeah.
Harry Potter, the video game,
yeah.
and as I'm playing the video game, I'm like, why can't I do this with cinema? You know, it's like they gave us the assets, and I'm like, I'll just play it on Xbox instead, because it's like, why can't it run in real time on a game system that, like, the specs suck compared to like the computer that you're on, but it's like when I jump into cinema, it's like, you know, moving at a snail's pace. So I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
granted, games are optimized to run on those
Right.
particular systems, but I mean,
Right.
still, you know.
Yeah.
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 There's still certain things. Oh, he just emailed me back. Nice. He said it renders everything live in browser and streams to you, so it doesn't use your resources. All right. He says it's fun to model weird little guys with, and you know, Tokyo loves to model weird characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Is there anything else new that you saw that like might be coming out?
Well, I know Brandon brought up the character rigging tools. Those are going to be improved in 5.1. We looked at the broadcast tools, Project Avalanche. There's going to be a lot of improvements coming in Path Tracer 5.1. So currently it has problems doing like reflections and atmospheric fog and stuff like that. Path Tracer in 5.1 pretty much rivals all the offline renderers right now, which is really cool to see. And you could do anamorphic rendering as well. Trying to think what else was there. Improvements. Oh yeah, foliage can now run on nanite. So before foliage wasn't running on nanite because it was hard with the translucency and everything, but now you could have literally millions and millions of trees running through nanite with all the leaves and everything. Like
Yeah.
before, right now in 5, as you pull back, it's still using like LODs. They kind of like decimate the model as it's pulling back, but
Yeah.
it's not doing that any longer. Like everything stays true to form, which is completely insane. Like
It's
there was
amazing.
a demo with the there's a new tree pack by the Megascans team. I forget what it's called. Brandon might know, but they're going to optimize it for 5.1 when it officially drops. But yeah, they showed a demo there where they had like a completely insanely vast forest and all the leaves stayed intact no matter where you went at in this forest. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Saw a clip of that on TikTok as well.
Yeah, they got some type of weird wizards working over there. Like they were trying to explain it to me because I talked to the guy that worked on the tree pack, and he's just like, yeah, some dude over in Germany, he like lives in the woods, and he's just like always taking pictures of like all the foliage and all the woodwork around him, and he's just like, yeah, he studies nature like 24/7 to see how it works, and then he translates that into Unreal, and he was showing me like his blueprint breakdown. I'm like, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like it looks cool and it's amazing, but I have no idea how you're able to, achieve this because it's crazy. Like everything's running at least at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So insane.
There's a question too about whether or not in Nanite you can do deforming geo or not.
You can do world position offset, which is what uses what's used in the foliage stuff. So like trees swaying in the wind, all that's kind of shader driven with world position offset. So technically, if you use that with Nanite, you can make it deform. You could run a noise across something and make it deform, but not with skeletal meshes yet. Once that happens, I mean, game over for real. I mean, you could just, you wouldn't have to worry so much about creating LODs for characters and other assets.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lumen and Nanite, it's in 5.1 you can now do Lumen and Nanite in VR. That was one of the big improvements too, because right now you can't use Lumen or Nanite in VR, but in 5.1 it all runs at 120 hertz, I believe.
And is that just because of the limitations of headsets and having to render out stereo and all of that? It's just too much right now, or was it too much before? Was that kind of the problem?
I think they were just always working on it. Like they had to get it out for version 5, and so there was a bunch of stuff that was left behind that wasn't ready yet. But 5.1, they actually have it all, because VR is still pretty niche, so I don't think it was at like the top of the tier of stuff they wanted to have ship with 5.0, but with 5.1 that all works inside of VR now, which looks really cool. So can't wait to I kind of want to get back into VR. I don't know if you guys saw the Meta Pro. I probably won't get that, but I have
They've got it.
I have it. Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
How do you like it?
I really like it. I was on Discord the other day. I think somebody asked me, and if you're really excited about the new like mixed reality AR stuff, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like the color cameras are okay. They're not much better than the black and white ones from before, but it really makes it feel like you're in your room. I've actually been experimenting a little bit with doing my own mixed reality by kind of hacking the system a little bit, and it's really nice now that you can set your boundaries, but you can also set up your room. You can set up desks, you can set up shelves, couches, and your walls. And so when the overlay happens, you really feel like you're in the room. There's a demo of the little alien guy that you shine a flashlight at him. It changes anywhere you aim. It changes like the textures on your walls. And the coolest part about it for me was that he gives you this little control, and you can click on any wall in your room, and it opens up into his virtual world where his spaceship is. So you're in your room, but all of a sudden, like, there's a portal, and you can click the other walls and ceiling, and it turns into this universe. And the way I've been hacking it like today, I played Beat Saber on it for the first time, and I beat every score of every song in the Lizzo pack, because there's a new Lizzo pack, which is awesome, by the way. It's really good. Like, the way it makes you like curve now and follow these lines when you're playing and hitting everything, it's like you're dancing,
Right.
But I beat every score because it's more accurate, and the controllers are way more accurate now. But what I've been doing is the hack, because I get a little gun shy playing Beat Saber, especially in my office. I'm like, what am I going to hit? And it's not just that I'm going to break something, but I'm going to swing and I'm going to like break a finger or something because I'm getting into it.
Definitely done that.
So my hack has been, I stand in the middle of the room, and that's kind of where I set up my center position. If you go a little bit too far forward from your center point and you back up just a little bit, you will it'll start to crossfade your room and show the outlines of the room. So I have important things like the lamp and these other things there, and if I go back just enough, I'm actually playing this half crossfaded Beat Saber because the safety system is turning itself on halfway. So if I'm just in the right sweet spot, I can see my room and Beat Saber and play in the room at the same time and feel a sense of security that I'm not going to bash my hand into the wall.
Interesting.
Wow.
So the resolution's better, What's that?
Do you
Is that
think it
kind-
was worth the price tag though? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh no. I was just gonna ask a dumb question. Go
Um,
ahead.
if this is your first one, I would say it's tough. If you really want to go for this mixed stuff, I would say go for it. You know, it is very comfortable. The way it fits on your head is better. The controllers are much more well balanced because they you know, it's the form and function thing, right? Before they had to have AA batteries in them. They wanted them to be a little more balanced and everything, so they decided we're going to make them rechargeable. We can fit the battery components where they need to go. And then I think it's worth it if you really want to like start playing with that stuff. If this is something you're getting as a gift for somebody, you probably still go with the old one.
Right.
But I really love also that like the old one had this squishy foamy material around the face, and now it feels a little more open. You don't feel like the thing is just jammed in your face. Like it feels like it's in front of your face. And the head straps are like this nice leather, so that you do a big workout and get all sweaty and gross. You can take it off, you wipe it off with a towel, give it a little Windex,
nice.
not Windex, little
Lysol.
or Windex, you know, maybe for the lenses. I don't know. But yeah,
Don't
there's
use
some
one
really
stick
great
on the
stuff.
lenses.
Yeah, we'll get in there. But yeah, long story short, I think I think as somebody who's like into it and wants to try this stuff, I was there. I think Winbush, you said you were there for the DK1 or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've had every single one all the way up since Kickstarter, and like
Yeah,
it's
I get them all in
you
my
know,
garage. Yeah.
yeah. It sucks that it's Facebook, but you know, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah,
forget
that's
that.
another thing.
It's all right.
Um,
They'll go out of business here soon. Someone else will buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DK2 was amazing back in the day.
Mhm.
It was so great.
Yeah. When the
all the
parallax was
roller coaster
added.
sims.
What?
Yeah.
So with all the roller coaster sims that were making everybody all dizzy
Oh.
and throwing up.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
The first time I brought it up to the office, Matt tried it
I
and
was
he got sick.
so sick that day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because we're just going through space on the DK1, and like, oh man,
I
I
remember
almost
that
threw
demo.
up that day.
Yeah.
I think I told the story at Halfres, I think, right, where I made like the execs at Hasbro throw up when I did like a My Little Pony VR
Yeah.
experience test with the kids.
Yeah.
And I brought it in there for them to try out. And I don't know why. Like I used the Windows Surface to hook it up to, because I don't know, I thought it was cool. I'm like, oh, I got this Surface, it's flat, it's new tech, but yeah, it just couldn't keep up with the frame rates. And
Yeah.
it just
God, the frame
not a good
rates
day at
and
the office.
the frame rates and the lack of parallax, I'll tell you. But when I first put on that first one, as bad as the resolution was, and you know the Tuscany demo,
Mhm.
it's like the little Italian villa or whatever. I was like,
Oh right, yeah.
well, I was like, oh my God, I get it. I see.
Yeah,
I
same.
get it. Yeah.
I thought it was so stupid, and then I tried it on, and I was like, okay, I get it. I
Yeah.
see where this can go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, and then there's Apple's headset. That's the ongoing joke with me and Matt, is every time there's an announcement, I'm like, oh, this is going to be their VR, AR?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not.
We're walking through the airport into Chicago one time during a thing, and they're like, "Oh, and one more
thing.
And this is the
This is
headset.
it. Here it
gonna
is."
be the headset." No,
5 years
it's
ago.
another phone.
Yeah.
Another phone.
Yeah.
It was the
Not
iPhone
a
10.
huge Apple fan, but like I'm really, really curious what they're gonna do in that space. Like I wish it would just come out so I could see it. Like I'm just really curious on like their take on what they're gonna do with it, because I think if anybody's gonna do it right, I think it's Apple, because they tend to take their time with everything.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Yeah.
They're not
They-
first ones to market, but they do it right. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
they want to make sure it's right because they got their name and reputation attached to it. So
Mm-hmm.
If the processing can be done on the phone, you know,
Mm-hmm.
could be good.
Yeah, your
Could be
phone's
good.
in your pocket on fire.
Burning up.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's funny. Anybody have any other questions in the chat? I'm glad people are still with us after the little drop there
Yeah.
we had or whatever.
Thanks for
Uh,
hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah.
Just another dumbass phone.
but you could do
Yeah.
the AR stuff with it though, right?
Yeah.
Like I know you were talking
Mhm.
about the alien stuff,
Oh.
but can you do like your own AR stuff? Like if you're using like Unity or Unreal or anything.
Sure, you could.
Yeah, if you have the SDK, you know, you can do that stuff. You have to have the link to the computer or whatever, which you can still do with this one. But you can play with it. My thought is, you know, there's videos that are like 360 videos, and then there's videos that are like actual stereo videos, right? Like where things actually look 3D. And my thought is, you know, just to something you could do now before it's, you know, the technology's really there to do this the right way is, couldn't you take video that was done in stereo for VR, but if it's shot in limbo, could you not luma key the blacks out and have like your room as the key fill, right? So in other words, you record somebody in stereo in VR, you know, or a scene or whatever it is, but if it's just a small scene, could you not key that out and then have those, you know, in room cameras pipe through that, you know, which you could do the same thing kind of if you did what I did and turn on the Guardian protection and then like lean back. You know, so you see half the room. But I was just thinking about that, like that's something somebody could do right now and try out as a really cool demo, but I haven't seen anything like that yet. So I don't know, but
I wonder if you could do it 'cause I know in Unreal 5.1 you can now import EXR sequence images, I guess you would call it. And you could do it in full 360 as well. So I wonder if you bring in like an EXR sequence that was recorded in 360 already keyed out with alpha. I wonder if you could pipe that through if you have the SDK in order to do so. Like I haven't seen the Meta SDK on the marketplace yet, so I'm not really sure. That's why I was asking. But
yeah,
that might be a workaround for that, because then you would have like the full 360 dome. I don't know if you could bring it. I guess you could bring in stereo, because the whole reason they implemented that was for the LED virtual production studios, so that they can pipe in the EXR sequences they have on the LED screens or whatever. So as you're moving the camera around, everything is tethered together, and you don't have to do that pixel streaming thing anymore that they were doing for like Mandalorian and stuff.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have to get one now, because I just like tinkering with that crap. But
that's the thing.
$1,500 is a lot.
It is a lot.
Tinker.
It is a lot, but I think it's something that I'll have for quite a while. I've beat this one to death. Like, it's really gotten a lot of use. You know, the old one is definitely not gathering dust. So I think for me it's worth it. It's not like a 5x improvement or anything, but I don't have buyer's remorse if that's the question.
It doesn't have to be tethered either, right? Like it's standalone.
Right. And I haven't tried it yet, but that game that's really fun, I Expect You to Die, apparently there's a version, like an update, where you can do it like in your own room. So I'm curious to see what that's about. You know, that's the stuff I'm excited about. I think AR, when it does get to the point where it's mainstream, a little more mainstream and a little lighter and a little less graphics intensive and all of that, it's going to become the next big thing. VR will never be the next big thing, but I think AR has the potential to be in like 20 years, you know. So.
Yeah, I know with VR it's always hit and miss depending on the individual, because if they're missing like that horizon line, it makes you lose your equilibrium on some people and they get seasick. Like even with higher refresh rates and everything, like some people just can't do VR at all. So they always need that point of reference of something that's real in the world. So that's why I always said, especially when people talk about like Apple AR, I'm like, that makes more sense, because then you have like real world reference points, and your equilibrium doesn't get thrown off because you know where you are in real space in the world there.
Yeah. And they've been doing this AR stuff with the phones already. It's the precursor to it. They're just prepping us, you know.
Yeah. And Tokyo was saying that to try Resident Evil 4 VR. I was thinking about grabbing that, because that did seem pretty cool.
I don't do scary games. Played Parasite Eve on the PS1 when I was
my
younger.
favorites.
Would never go
That's a
back.
good one too. Yeah.
So good.
What was the Half-Life Alex?
Yeah.
Alex.
Oh
yeah.
man, that is so good. That is so good.
gotta
I
finish
should
it.
load that up on this one because it would be really good with the new room boundaries and stuff. Because same thing, I'm afraid I'm gonna like pull out my gun and like smash something. You know.
Pull out my gun.
Yeah. I mean, I hurt myself playing Rec Room of all games because they had. the
So have
dodgeball.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I literally knocked like everything off behind me because I was playing dodgeball and I got into it and just smacked right into the wall as I was throwing it and like busted my finger all up and it's like, man.
I've punched my ceiling fan and also punched the side of my desk before. Yeah.
Our friend Stephen Matthew, he was playing one of the earlier versions of what was the Western game?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's-
Revolver or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like a ghost
Undead
town, but-
something.
Yeah,
what was it?
something like that. It's basically your like zombie cowboys, you know,
Yeah.
and we were playing each other. I think he was playing Matt on the other
He was
end.
playing me.
Mhm.
So I'm like hiding behind this thing, you know, shooting at him, and he wants to run over behind another pillar, not realizing that there's a wall right there. So
Yeah.
he full on,
Oh.
like full speed runs into David's
Yeah.
wall. It
He
was
thought
hilarious.
he was going to do the duck and roll like behind a table and then pop out and shoot, but there was like a wall there. I mean, he smashed his face into the wall, man. It was
Yeah.
yeah, his nose was in bad shape.
Oh no.
Yeah, see, that's why those little, you know, room scale things are great because you feel a little more confident. You don't feel claustrophobic, but
Yeah.
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 Cool. Well, y'all, thanks so much for hanging out on a random evening. You know, we don't get to do these specials at night that often. Everybody's usually pretty busy at night. And if you want to check out Brandon, that's Glass Hand Films, you can check him out on YouTube. And then same thing with Winbush, Jonathan Winbush's channel. Just got to Google, you know. Don't forget, check out Nifty Gateway tomorrow and get on this NFT kick, you know what I'm saying? I hear the NFTs are all the rage these days, you know.
Yeah, man.
I just heard
Expecting you
that.
to come in and get you a Winbush, $99, open edition,
Yeah.
flip it for a
Yeah.
$250,000.
Yep. Yeah.
Flipping
Flip
NFTs.
another one for $250,000.
Yeah, man.
And of course, if you go to mograph.com/rtxon, you can check out all the details on Brandon's course. And then if you go up here, you can also check out Creating the Unreal. What up, what up?
Mhm.
Right
50%
here.
off this month.
50%. Go get you some copies and learn all the Unreal.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks again, y'all. I'm sure we'll see you around the internet. Check us out on mograph.com, youtube.com/mograph. Hopefully we have that handle now. I think
We
we
do.
do. So,
We should.
yeah, I believe so. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
Yes, didn't claim it whenever YouTube put that whole handle thing out.
Yeah, here's the thing. We actually had it before that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I was saying too. Like I've always
Yeah.
had mine. But people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, did you claim
Yeah.
it?" I'm like,
Ours has
I
always
had
been
it.
youtube.com/mograph. Like
If you- yeah.
somehow like it wasn't taken a few years ago when I tried to like actually grab it. you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's
That's crazy.
it's a deal where like if you already had the channel name, they gave you that first dibs at that handle. So I think we got it. So check us out on all the things, you know, go to mograph.com, buy the t-shirt, and then of course, Mograph TV, make sure you turn it on, rip the knob off, learn a thing or two from Winbush and Maxon people and Boris people and all the people. So
All the peeps.
all the peeps.
All the peeps.
Cool.
Yeah, Maxon has a stream in a couple of days, right?
Yes, they
That's
do.
Tomorrow, right?
Wednesday.
Oh, is that tomorrow?
Next Wednesday. Yeah. I have rehearsals
some-
with them tomorrow, but yeah. Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
There's going to be Max on training team, and who else is going to be on? Jags is going to be on. And
Jags.
Garrett Appleton. Who else is on? Somebody, Eric Small, which I thought he had been on before. I guess he had. He's been on our show. So check it out.
And then
I've seen him hinting.
Gavrin's supposed to have a big announcement, right? Because he keeps hinting at like some fire smoke stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
Apparently, his renders are fire now. So, yeah,
They put out some fire donuts yesterday.
yeah, the
Yeah.
the fire buttholes, just like the yeah, just like the ones the training team does. I'm sure they've got all the jokes. So yeah, check them out next Wednesday. I think that starts at 10:30 LA time. So
Yeah.
cool. All right, thanks
Awesome.
a lot, y'all. We're gonna get out
You
of here.
guys.
Till next time, I'm Dave.
Take care.
And I'm Matt.
And I am Winbush.
And I'm Brandon.
Have a good one.
Later, you. Head is killing me.
Is that more than you have on your desk?